Okay, it looks like we're live, everybody. So anyhow, I'd like to welcome everybody to the call tonight. We're doing a live hangout with everybody, and we've got a few people from our team here, and we just wanted to we named this broadcast or this hangout with everybody why we made the decision to work from home. So we just wanted to get everybody out here and kind of get everybody's thoughts on what their decision, why they actually made the decision to either start working from home full time, basically to get into this industry to where eventually they could either, they could get out of their jobs or, make it a goal to work from home long time or full time. Basically, and in this industry too, it's not really just from home. It's kind of from anywhere. You don't have to be. You really, once you have your computer set up, that's the beauty of this. Years ago you didn't have that luxury. So anyhow, let's talk a little bit about that, and I'm gonna let me pull Russ out, or actually let me pull Rob out here first, and let's just make sure we don't get any feedback. So far everything looks good. It doesn't sound like I'm getting any feedback. We were getting a feedback loop when we first started, so let me pull Rob out and see, kind of ask you that question first, Rob. What kind of made you decide to get into this whole, this funky, work from home online stuff that, some people thinks, super weird.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, you're coming through loud and clear, buddy.
Well, it was pretty simple for me and my wife. Like, I worked in the youth ministry for about 7.5 years, almost a total of about 11, 12 years, and was also volunteering and whatnot. And me being an athlete, I was playing at a high level, and at some point I was pursuing playing professional soccer overseas, but life took another course for me, and then after working in the youth ministry for about 7.5 years, me and my wife, when we found out we were pregnant, we really did not want anybody else to raise our kids. That was our biggest thing, is we had a why, and we were very, very determined to not allow anybody else to raise our kids. And that's no offense to anybody else, but we really wanted to have our values installed with our kids and stuff. So we were always looking for something online. There was a lot, I've been a part of the MLM industry before when I was very, very young, 19 years old, and doing all the groundworks, and you always have to harass your friends and family and this and that, and I just really didn't want to do that. I didn't feel comfortable with that, and I was always looking for something online and something that can really work while I'm sleeping. And so me and my wife, when we were looking and stuff, sorry for a little bit of stutter. I'll get more into the story of that, but for me, on my birthday, the funny thing is that's when I suffered my head injury, and that's when I was training to probably play for Edmonton FC here. And I got pretty messed up. So picture hitting your funny bone, probably like 10 times worse. That's how my head would be, very, very fuzzy, and couldn't really function. And that's when we were really being serious about, okay, we want to be able to stay home with our kids. And that's when my daughter was first born, and here's where I messed up. I can't function, couldn't hold my daughter while she was even crying. And it really, really sucked. So we stumbled across this, like how you can, be able to implement some of the systems and things that I've been able to learn here and into my business. And I've been able to do this while I couldn't function. And now for me and my wife, we're both full-time parents. We're able to get a 5,000 square foot house. And now from living in a dungeon, we're living in a 2-bedroom condo, to living in a basement in my mother and father-in-law's house, and now owning our 5,000 square foot house, and my mother and father-in-law live in our basement, and we help take care of them. But the biggest thing is, again, we wanted to be home. That was our biggest thing, and how could it be able to help us to be able to do that? And now I'm waking up every single morning having sales pop in and be able to enjoy life and enjoy my little girl and stuff. So, and now we're expecting our second child. So that's the biggest thing for us, is that we didn't care what anybody else had to say. We were just going to go out and do it, and been able to, just enjoy life now.
Nice. Well, that's cool, man. Definitely a motivator there, isn't it? To be able to spend time with your family and not have to be out there every day slaving it away. Cool, man. Yeah, and you mentioned in your when you were just talking there about how this is kind of you've been in the MLM industry before, and for our viewers out there that aren't familiar with that, that's kind of, it's when he says MLM industry, it's like multi-level marketing industry. We're kind of in what we do is kind of a hybrid, so it's kind of a mix between MLM and direct sales and network marketing and affiliate marketing, and that's kind of one of the things that attracted me to it. The more I realized what it actually was, and it wasn't to where, like you said, you don't have to go out and promote to all your family and friends. Really, if you don't want to, I mean, you don't have to, but it's pretty interesting the way it all works, huh, Rob?
Well, yeah, it's that was a big thing for me, especially now with me having my stutter and everything else. It's just I can't. I didn't like doing that. I didn't like having to be on the phones all day long. And again, like you said, the MLM industry, the multi-level marketing, like you have to work, like for you to be very, very, very successful, you need to work 15, 18 hours a day, and you need to be on the phone. That's just the facts. You can be successful in the industry, but the business model is it's a very, very, very tough. And now I've been able to cut all that down to like where I do 1% of that now. I have my own coaches. I have everything else run for me automated. The biggest thing is actually what I've learned is work less, live more. I wanted to work smarter. So I found the top leaders and stuff and learned what they were doing and why it was working for them. And that was the biggest thing is they work less and live more. They had things on an automated system that worked for them. And that's the thing I've been able to learn. Basically, I've kind of gone to school and come up with like a PhD and a doctorate of how to market online and stuff and any products I want, sort of thing. And that's what I love.
Yeah, that's awesome, isn't it? Really cool way to do it. Well, cool, man. And you've got another little one on the way too now. So I mean, you're gonna have it's kind of cool, a lot of in the past I think for a lot of people it was almost unfathomable to be able to, when they're having a child, to even have a second child and be able to see them grow up and to see their first steps and hear some of their first words and to I know when we had our first our two children, fortunately we had stretched and really decided to open our own business and made a little room for them in my wife's office so that we could kind of watch them grow up. But it still wasn't the same. I mean, you're still in and out all the time and just kind of working like crazy. Well, that's pretty awesome, Rob. Let's see here. Who should we go to next? Let's see if we can get Cheryl to come out. We've got you over here, Cheryl, and got you on mute. Let's see if we can get you to come out here. See if we can hear you okay.
Can you hear me? Should I say it again? Can you hear me?
We can't. I don't know if we're getting any volume from you, Cheryl.
Okay.
I can hear you,
Can you hear
Cheryl.
me
Good.
now?
Oh, you can?
Yeah, I can hear her. Can you hear?
I can't hear her. I can hear you.
I hear you.
Oh, she can hear you.
Really?
I can hear you, and you can hear me, Rachel?
Yeah, I can hear you. James, can you hear her?
No, I can't. It's kind of weird.
Okay.
Um,
Rob said he can hear her too.
really? Love technology here.
She's
Sorry,
giggling.
for everybody that's new, that's watching this, this is one of our first kind of team hangouts that I'm actually set up. So I'm not really good with this stuff, but I'm learning. Sometimes you got to do whatever it takes, huh? Let's see here.
Russ or I could come out, and then we can go back to her if we can get that sound figured out.
Yeah, why don't we do that? Because I can't hear her, and I'm guessing since I'm the presenter that that nobody else will be able to, and I hate to, and then I won't know what to say either when she talks. So let's see if we can get let's bring Russ Russ out, and we're probably, I know we don't have video with Russ, but I know we should be able to hear you, Russ. So let's bring you out, Russ.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Oh, you can hear me? Okay, good. Yeah. Yeah. What started me? And it was many. I think it was like 1996 or 97. I got this little booklet, a little yellow book that said something about make $4,000 a day sitting at your kitchen table in your underwear. And I remember that book really well, and I read it, and I never really did anything with it, but I always kept that in my mind. And over the years, I've been looking for stuff, and like Rob, like what Rob's doing is just amazing, because to be able to be home with your kids when they're growing up. I worked 1,000,000 hours. I always worked 60 hours a week, 65 hours a week. Get home and we take off on our dirt bike with my kids. I take off on dirt bikes for an hour, then they got to come back, and stuff like that. I never had time with my kids, and now I'm seeing my grandkids starting to come along, and I just don't want that to happen again. So I'm really working hard at figuring things out, and it's something I have to do, and I understand that it's there for anybody who wants it, and I'm going to make this happen, and it's going to be for my kids and for my grandkids and for me, and anyone understands that anybody, like people go online, they look all the time. I know that I've spent a lot of money, and I've done a lot of things over the years, and I never really made anything work, but now's the time, and it's with Empower Network and now with iPass system and all that, and with the people I'm talking to, you see things, you see it works, and it's just a matter of convincing yourself and convincing everybody around you does, and just making it work. And I'm like I said again, I'll say to Rob, like I just love to see the way he's able to be home with his family, and his girl, and he's another one on the way here, and he's going to be raising them and full time. That's just an amazing thing, and so that's why I'm here, and I'm gonna make it, and I'm struggling a bit, but I will make it, and because I know the right people are in place, and you got people like you that really helping us out and stuff like that, and yeah, and I'm ready.
Awesome, Russ. Awesome. Yeah, no, it's definitely it's definitely an industry that appeals to a lot of people because of that, being able to kind of get away from what they're already doing, or to get into a different way of life, I guess you could call it. I know that's one of Rob's sayings that he likes to use a lot, which is really great, actually.
Another way of life.
I think that kind of sums up, kind of how a lot of us, I mean, like you said, Russ, for years, we kind of did the same thing. I can remember my daughter actually telling me that she remembers me missing so many years of her life, and that I wasn't really around because I was out of town so much, doing jobs and stuff like that. And I think that's I think we're conditioned from a young age, to just, go get older and get your school and get your education, and you'll go out and find a job, and even if we didn't go to college, you have to go out and find a way to make a living and get a job and stuff like that. And I think for a lot of people out there, I think it is a paradigm shift. It's a shift in thinking in order to say, how can I do this differently? How can I do it to where I'm not following always in the footsteps of everybody else, and kind of doing what everybody else wants me to do instead of what I want to do. And I know that was one of the stretches we had, is that our old business that we had wasn't doing all that great, and well, it was doing great, but then stuff happened to where the banks wouldn't loan money, and so we had to make a decision. And so I think it's at that point when you make a decision, and I know you've made that decision, Russ, to where I know you're gonna you're getting where you want to go, and with our help and with the community's help and everybody that's out there, I think you're gonna be seeing that very, very shortly here. But I'm gonna unmute you. I have muted you up, Russ, because we're getting a little bit of feedback from you, just a little bit of speaker noise, but That's really awesome. Is there anything else you wanted to tell us, Russ?
No, not a lot. It's just a matter. It's just when you think about it, when you tell people about the online, there is another way. Like especially in my business, construction business, like it's I'll mention something to the guys at work and all that, and they just kind of roll their eyes, kind of thing. It's that, and they don't understand that there is, like you say, step out of the box a little bit, and there's something else out there for you. If instead of just being in the construction industry or whatever industry you're in, and literally just being a slave, literally. I mean, you are. I mean, I was all my life, and for 45 years I've been construction, and I could retire that way and just go with my pension and all that, but that ain't gonna happen. No, I gotta enjoy retirement years. Yeah. And people don't understand that. They don't get that, but we're going to find people that do.
Absolutely.
Absolutely, yeah.
And I think more people are starting to wake up to it. I think with the internet here and more people getting online and starting to realize that there's a way to leverage the online space, but it's definitely interesting. Well, that's cool. Well, I'm gonna mute you up, Russ, because we're getting a little bit of feedback from your end. But
Okay.
I appreciate you coming out, and that's really awesome. So let's see here. Let me see if we can bring Cheryl out. Let's see. Okay, let's see if we can get Cheryl out. And Cheryl is unmuted, and we've got.
Can you hear me? Jameson, anything?
Can you hear her, James? She's talking.
No, I can't. Let's see here. Let's see. Darn it. It says something on here about video mute is unavailable for mobile users. I'm wondering.
Oh.
I don't know why.
Connected.
Let's see. Hold on. Sure.
I think she's working from one of the iPads.
Okay. Yeah, for some reason, it's saying that I don't have control over the mobile user stuff. Let's see.
Talk for a minute, and I'm going to go.
Yeah,
see
for some reason, I'm not getting her voice out of there. Darn it! I was hoping to have her out too.
Okay. Well, she suggests you interview your wife, and she's going to see what she can do.
Okay. All right. Thanks, Cheryl. All right. So cool. So let's have Rachel come on out and ask that same question. Why'd you make the decision to work from home? Or why?
Well,
yep.
Well, just like all the parents that are here today, we wanted to be the primary influence in our children's lives. Our girls were 11 and 12 when we closed our business. So we really had worked hard for the 11 years that our business was in operations. So that decision was pretty big, but we knew that wasn't what we wanted for our future, and that our business was growing so big, it was robbing us of all of our time and freedom. So we stepped away and made that decision to go into the home-based business industry, and it's been the best decision we could have made. So it's been, we just started our third year working from home, and we've been able to spend 2 years of that time traveling with our girls, and this past year we've spent every day working from home and being able to bring them to school and pick them up, and really spent quality time as a family. And I know that they're appreciate this forever as they're getting into their teen years, and it's been invaluable what we've been able to share as a family.
Yeah, absolutely. I know for me definitely, like you say, I mean it's been valuable, because I think for me I had never looked at this industry, and you could probably remember we never. I mean, we had a couple people that, tried to get us in traditional stuff, and we're open-minded, so we're always out there, saying, or before we were always like, yeah, what do you got? How does it work? Because I think with almost anybody that's out there, if you have the desire to want more out of life, you know, whether you have a business, whether you're an employee, whether, you know, whatever you're doing, I think we all have the desire to want more out of life. And so I think there's at one point, no matter who you are, I think you sit back and you say, how can I make some extra income? How can I add to my income? And you know, you find a lot of people that start, you know, searching for different ways to make income. And I know for us, I had first started thinking of a way to make extra income when I read. I think actually I had bought a brand new truck and we were driving back from you know, the city where we bought it from. And I remember my wife bought me, you know, Rachel there bought me a CD. We went into Barnes and Noble and we were getting some coffee, and she was always into books and stuff like that. And so she actually picked me up a CD that was Retire Young, Retire Rich by Robert Kiyosaki. And I thought, that's kind of interesting. And it was my first time I actually popped that thing in my DVD or my CD player in my truck. And you know, I think we had a 2-hour drive home from where we were at. And I started listening to that, and I was like, wow, this is pretty interesting here. You know, this is he's talking about real estate, and he's talking about how you don't have to work all your life, and you can, you know, start adding to your income and creating extra, you know, extra income. And when you can create enough income to where you're matching the income that you're already bringing in, that then you could actually step away from where you were at. And I thought, that's a pretty interesting concept. And I remember that kind of got us on our journey, and then we started getting into personal development and stuff like that. And I think that's another thing I wanted to bring out on this call is that, you know, we got into personal development. We went to a personal development seminar. It was kind of like an interactive class, and I remember that was one of the most powerful things I've ever been to. And it was a self-awareness class, so it started making you realize, you know, give you self-awareness of how you looked to the outside world and, you know, how people perceived you. And it was pretty interesting because it started making you actually think about things. And I remember starting to think, you know, well, all I've got to do, you know, I think after that class I started looking at more ways to make income, and then we started buying different things, and you know, as far as educational things went, and I started buying all these different DVD or CDs and stuff like that to listen to while I was driving, because I did a lot of driving. And I think for a lot of people, for me anyway, I had to change my mindset. I had to change the way I was thinking about a lot of stuff. And what was happening was I was gearing all of my knowledge towards business, towards my conventional business. And I was trying to figure out, well, where am I weak, and how can I improve on those weaknesses? And I slowly started, you know, I would slowly start buying different CDs that were pinpointed on my weaknesses that I had. And so after a while, I started getting better and better at things I needed to, like time management and, you know, management skills and business and different things like that. But then I started realizing that, you know what, I'm getting really good at doing this stuff, and I think a lot of people could probably relate to this out there with any job you're in. You get really good at it, but then the better you get at it, it seems like the more time you get sucked away from you. And that's one of the best things I love about this industry is the better you get at it. You know, you can think about it. I'm sure, like even Russ there, for instance, you know, doing construction, running heavy equipment and stuff like that. We all go through a learning curve. You know, we all learn how to do things, and the better we get at it, the more demand people want from us. The more they want us to take our time and to do things for us, because they think of us every time they need that thing done. And so what happens when that happens is you start losing more and more time, because you're in more high demand. And I think a lot of people subconsciously, when they start becoming in high demand, you know, some of them decide to go backwards because they don't want all that responsibility. And then some people say, I'm gonna get even better so I can get more responsibility, I can make more money, and I can do, you know, be in higher demand. But what that does is it takes away so much of your time. And that's what I loved about this industry, is that we could actually leverage what we're doing. It's just like this video, for instance. You know, we're shooting this video, It's going to go out on the web. We can take this video and we can send it to anybody we want. People are going to come on and see it, and it goes out on the web and it works for you 24 hours a day. It's out there all the time. So you can put a piece of information out there, and it's out there working for you 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And that's what was awesome about what I liked about this, is that we actually teach people how to leverage their time in order to live that other way of life. And it's totally different. It's totally different than the industrial mindset. The industrial mindset was that you had to, go to school, get a good job, and basically, guys, what that came from, and I don't think a lot of people realize, is what that came from was the industrial age, where there was people like Henry Ford and the Carnegies, I think it was, that owned, was it Carnegies? The people that owned the steel mills and stuff like that. I mean, they had high demand to build these vehicles and to create industry, and they needed to educate people to come and work for them. So, if you do research on Henry Ford, you realize that guy built like a whole city in Detroit, like this. It was like its own little infrastructure that had security. It had everything in there to where people basically, that's all they did. They went and they worked for him. And so he thought he had to figure out a way to educate people and do stuff like that. And so you had your farmers, people that would work from the land or make money off the land, and then you had the industry, and that industry said, well, we need to educate people. And so that's where schooling became even more prevalent, because they needed managers, and they needed all these different people, because infrastructure, you had to set up an infrastructure in order to build a big business, and you had to have all these people working for you. And so there, all of a sudden, then you had corporate executives, and you had all these things that came into place. And so the mindset was, okay, well, go to school, get a good job, work your time, and then you can retire and you can live off your pension. And now, guys, the way everything's happening in the economy, everything is changing, because still, what a lot of people don't realize is still the big players are in control of the way everything works, the way the economy works, and the way everything still works. And so what happens is you still get people that are conditioned to think that way. You still get people that think, okay, well, go to school, and then and then come out and figure out what you want to do. You know what I mean? Or they make you go to school, and they make you learn all these different things, and really, you get out, and you're not making money in the field you were designed to go into. And so, I mean, it's not just a business that we have here. It's a leadership factory disguised as the business, because basically we're training people to become leaders and to be able to leverage their time to where they can take control of their life and ultimately live that other way of life. So anyhow, that's my spiel for why I'm so passionate about this, because I believe it's a movement, and I believe that you guys have to sit back and realize that. You hear a lot of people saying, well, I wasn't born with a computer, and today all the kids are born with computers. Uh-oh. Hold on for a second, guys. I'm getting some... Rach.
Yeah, I keep getting kicked off.
Okay. Sorry about
Sorry.
that. It was dinging in for some reason. So anyhow, I mean, you hear a lot of people saying, I wasn't born with computers, but you got to realize is that there's the people nowadays that are born with computers. It's not so much that they're, for those of us like me, myself, that always had a hard time working on computers. Okay, hold on. We're getting some bunch of feedback now, guys. Hey, Russ, are you hearing that, Rob? Yeah. Okay. So
Yeah.
anyhow, let's see if we can get Cheryl to come out here, because I get pretty passionate about this, because I think everybody needs to hear about it, and I know for a fact the reason why I do get passionate about it is because I know we have systems that work and that people can leverage, and it's just a matter of taking a look at it. We have a trial that you can get in there and take a 7-day trial. A no risk 7-day trial, and I think it's ludicrous that people close their mind off to this kind of stuff, because it's just absolutely crazy. I mean, they're missing out. So let's see if we can get Cheryl to come out here. See if we can hear you, Cheryl. Is she talking?
Okay, can you hear me? Can you hear me, Jameson?
James, can you hear her?
No, I can't hear her.
Okay, we'll have to catch her next time.
Sorry
Yeah,
about that,
next time.
Cheryl.
And I'm sorry I
Darn
missed
it.
Rachel interviewed.
So anyhow, sorry about that, Cheryl.
It's okay.
But anyhow, I get pretty passionate about this stuff because I have worked, I've been one of those guys that have worked 60, 70 hours a week. I've had, I can remember jobs we've done in Oklahoma where we had deadlines to meet, and I would go down to the rental stores and get, floodlights out in front of the building so we could work all night. And, just ludicrous, just stuff that was crazy. And, I just thought, work harder, and, that's what it's all about. You do whatever it takes. And what I noticed about that, though, is once you start being like that, you create a culture around you of people that do the same thing. And so, I believe that a lot of people in this industry, that's kind of what it takes sometimes, is that you have to pass through that mental block first, and then you got to realize that it is possible. And once you get to that point, and you allow yourself to be open, you can't open a closed mind. So, once you allow yourself to be open to what's possible, that's when everything starts changing for you. And I mean, for some of us, I know when we even first went out on the road, we were tight, and we had no clue what we were doing, but we just jumped out there. We just did it. And I said, you know what? If this doesn't work, if for some reason we get out on the road, and like Rachel was saying, we traveled for 2 years with our children. We went and bought a big motorhome, actually leased a big motorhome from a guy that we found to privately finance it. And I figured, you know what? If this doesn't work, I can always go find another job because I've got skills. And I think everybody out there that's watching this, people have skills. You learn skills throughout time. And if you go into it with that mindset that, you know what, you're not stupid. You can go find another job if you have to. If for some reason you got into a tight time, you can go and work somewhere if you had to. And I think that's a step from going from part-time to full-time, is to just saying, you know what, I'm gonna do this. And I know when we went full-time, we started putting our budget together, and we actually did a test run before we went out on the road. We actually, for all of you, I have a lot of RVer people on my channel that are attracted to us because we've done a lot of RVing. But what we did was before we actually went out in the RV, we took a road trip for 2 weeks, and we went down to Phoenix, and then we drove up to Vegas, Las Vegas, Nevada, and what we did was we found a place. It was called the Scottsdale Plaza Resort. We found it online. I think it was through Priceline or something like that. But we got it for like the week for I think it was, I don't know, $300 or something like that. And I started doing the math. I started thinking, you know what, $300 for the week. You times that by 4, that's $1,200 for the month. And I started thinking, you know what, we could almost stay at resorts, travel the country and stay at resorts for that cost, because you got somebody making your bed for you, you've got electricity, you got all this stuff, and it's only $1,200 a month. And I was like, this is crazy. And so, we got online, we got a good discount at it. But then I thought, okay, so if we can keep our food costs down, how can we keep our food costs down? You start asking all these how-to questions. How can I do this? How can I do that? And I started saying, how do we keep our food costs down? So we talked, Rachel and I talked, and we got put a cooler together, and we put, stuff that we could make in the cooler, like lettuce wraps and stuff like that with meats and different snacks and stuff. And we tested it for that weekend, and we took our expenses of what it cost us to go down there, and we kept our eating out down to a minimum. And after those 2 weeks, I realized that if we had a way to refrigerate our food, that we could travel for pretty much cheaper, less expensive than what we could live conventionally for, in a house for. And that's when I started getting on this kick of, you know what, let's just get an RV and start traveling full time. Because it all of a sudden became a reality to me because I did the math on it. I studied it, I did the math, I did my research, and I started realizing that, man, I'm going to actually save. You know what's funny, guys, is where we're at now, we got this little townhome, and where we're at now, we're spending about $1,000 a month more than what we spent out on the road traveling the country. So take that and think about that for a minute. I mean, $1,000 more a month for living stationary. So anyhow, I was going to pull Rob out here one more time and see if you had anything to add to this, because I get pretty passionate about this stuff.
No, I hear you. I'm the same way, especially coming from working in a youth ministry. One of the biggest things I always saw that I hated when I was working with my clients is that they were always told, you can't do anything. You can't do it. You're worthless. This is all you can do, and that's it. It was the same thing as I was always told. I wasn't the brightest in school, whatever. I was slower at some things, but that's okay. I had my my skills and stuff, right, that I was able to do too. But the biggest thing, it just really bothered me because I'd always see that, and I was always learning more for myself and how could I be a better leader, right? So I started getting into some books. The Robert Kiyosaki I got into when I was younger. How the Win and Influence Friends. Magic is actually a really good book. It's been helping me a lot, changing my mindset of a lot of things, right? Even though I'm a Christian and stuff, but I take a lot of the good things out of it. It's actually a pastor of mine when I was really, really young. He told me when I was really, really young, look at what a rooster or a chicken does. He always, I didn't understand what he was meaning. He just always said, watch what a rooster does. And I was like, okay, what? And then he started telling me, okay, what does a rooster do when he's out there? He always picks up the good things. So that it doesn't matter if it's in like manure, crap, whatever. It's always picking up the good things. So meaning when it's eating, right? But I didn't understand that analogy until like 4 years later down the road. I started to understand what he really meant. And that's the thing in our life, in our businesses, and anything. You take the good things. When you sit there in the negative things, and you're going to allow that to impact your life, especially in business. I know, like Russ was talking about when he's like with some friends at work and this and that. I went through that for a whole year actually. Got laughed at. You can't do this and that. You can't go make this money. I started investing in real estate. And I ended up. I'm working in inner city homeless. I'm working at a shelter. So you can just imagine what my wage is. I wasn't there for a paycheck. I loved what I did, and that's one thing I always tell people: if you don't love what you do, don't do it. Your life is not going to be really fulfilled. So. But I ended up, buying a house. Me and my brother, we got a house together. We ended up having the most high-end rental suite in our basement, and we didn't even pay down for our mortgage. I switched up my car 3 times in 1 year. Some people thought I was a drug dealer, but all these people, the staff that I kind of like family to me, they always tell me, "We can't do that. What are you doing? You're just going to debt. That's stupid. This and that." Well, here I am, being able to own a house and the cars and stuff I have, and I'm able to do what I love to do still. And then here they are, they're sitting there complaining about this and that, and then I stepped down because of all personal reasons, but a lot of them are still in the same situation where, they're not really happy and their life isn't being fulfilled and stuff, and just want to sit there and complain about everything. Well, here's for one thing, I even had my mother and dad, my dad and my mother, they were watching me. The brothers and sisters were always, mocking me about what I was doing and this and that for about a year. And all of a sudden, just recently, they came on board with what I was doing because they saw how simple it was and they saw how I was living my life. And I didn't have to sit there and be on the phone or nag them about this and that, about my opportunity. Just go live your life. People are watching. Mm-hmm. People are watching what you do. And some people, like, if people are making a lot of comments towards you or negative, then you're obviously doing something right because someone's watching. Because there's always going to be those people that are always going to want to take something that you have. They want that little bit of that cake, that candy, right? Just like being a kid, like they want that candy, but you can't. right?
Yeah.
And they just want to sit there and just be like, I want that, I want that, I want that, right? They're just going to keep nagging on you. But again, people are always watching. You know, one big thing I always say though too is this: if you're not growing, you're dying.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't care what anybody says. You know, you can agree, disagree with me, but you know, if you're not growing, you're dying. Period. That's the stand of it. And that's
Yep.
the thing is, you want to be growing within your life, right? We made a big rule in our house with our family, is that the word "I can't" is not allowed. We don't allow it, right? There's no "I can't." You know, you try. You know, you think a lot of the biggest entrepreneurs, they were successful right away. No. For analogy, like for me, being an athlete, you look at Wayne Gretzky, one of the greatest hockey players in the world, smallest player. They said he couldn't play at all. He couldn't play the game. He was too small. Everybody knows who he is. Michael Jordan, one of the greatest all time in basketball. Most Americans like follow basketball there, right? Could never make it. One of the greatest basketball players of all time. He didn't even make his high school basketball team. Can you imagine that? He didn't even make it. And what he said and what he did, he just went out and he practiced and got better and better and better. So that's within your life, that's what you need to do. You want to surround yourself with positive people that are going to uplift you and and you want to have a mentor. If you don't have a mentor, go and find a mentor. Find someone you're going to learn from. Like that's one of the biggest things that's helped with me is having that mentor and learning from you, Jameson, right? Just being able to how to grow and how to use things in my life. And sometimes I need to have that slap in the face where I somewhat use some ways almost the can't, but you know, you need someone there that's going to kick you in the butt and be able to move forward, right? And things aren't going to be easy in life. It's not. So like back to some of my youth, some of these kids are actually geniuses. They come from the streets. A lot of the police and some of them would abuse them and stuff, and people wouldn't believe them. And I didn't tolerate how some of the staff would treat them. So I'd go out and one-on-one with them a lot. And just for an example, this one kid, one night, he was sitting there just doodling, whatever, writing some stuff out. To us, it looked like doodling. And one time we started asking, what are you doing? And it's like 2 o'clock in the morning, supposed to be in bed. And here he is I'm just writing out this language. What do you mean language? Oh, this Egyptian language. And I can't remember if it was writing or was reading it, though, actually. But I think he was writing it. And apparently only 10 people or 20 people in the world could actually read and understand and write this language. And this kid was doing it in front of us. And we went like a lot of them would say, I can do this and that. We will go and find out, right? We don't just, you know, jump off the bridge, just believe everything. We go and do our research. But this kid was really doing it. And here there's management and some other people telling us, no, he shouldn't be pursuing that stuff, that's stupid or this and that. And here he is. You have this kid who's a genius, who's off the streets, and you would never imagine that. And that there's so many people that die with their dreams and their ideas, and it's very, very sad. It is. There's a lot of people that die, and it dies with them. They can do a lot of good in this world and with their family and their life and just everywhere, right? So yeah, just with that, I just, you know, don't give up on your dreams. Like a lot of people always say that, but I'm very serious. Like you need to have a big why what you want to do in your life. Like again, I worked in the youth ministry for almost 7.5 years. I loved what I did, but I learned how to make my money work for me as well, so I could do what I love. And now I'm working on some other special projects to be able to do what I love to do now and be able to give back more. And that's because I made a decision. And that's what you need to do in your life. You need to sit down and you need to write out the things in your life that you want. And you need to look hard in the mirror and you need to make that decision. So, but yeah, that's pretty much all I got to say there, Jameson.
Awesome, dude. That's great stuff. Yeah, that's powerful. It is sad that a lot of us gets, you know, and I've been a part of that same crowd. Is you get stuck in, you know, Robert Kiyosaki has this game called Rat Race.
1 second.
Go ahead.
You gotta see this. There you go. Can you guys see that? No, I'm not sure if you can see it. Here, I'll pull it up.
Congratulations. You just made a $7 iPass sale. Yeah, awesome, dude.
Been getting that every day. And every time I wake up every morning, I'm excited to go on my phone.
I know. I have
to. I had to cut you off there. It's just funny how ironic. I'm sitting here hanging out with you guys, and I'm getting paid.
It's leveraging systems, man. I don't think you doing that. I don't think I've ever checked my email so much in my life as these last few years. It's funny because if you ask any of the employees that I used to work with, our estimators and different people like that, I mean, they would get pissed that I would never. They were like, "Don't you check your email? What's the matter? Why don't you check your email? Why, I just emailed this to you." And it's like, and now Rachel can vouch for it. It's like I'll get up in the morning, and that's the first thing I do. I'm checking my email to see if I have any notifications in there of sales that have come through. It's a beautiful thing, isn't it?
I love it.
But it's leverage time. I mean, you leverage time. I mean, I was talking to a business lady the other day, a lady that actually had her own business, and I was telling her, this is duplication. You can. What's cool is they say there's no duplication. You can duplicate yourself. You can absolutely duplicate yourself many, many, many times in this business. It's like you do the work once, and you duplicate your efforts over and over again. It's just it's crazy. I mean, I'll give you guys a real good quick example here, but I mean, we've been doing this for, I don't know, I think we're going into our third year with the current company that we're with. And I mean, I've been kind of lazy even this last month or so. I haven't really put out any videos, but I think I have like 90 videos on my channel. And this is just one way of advertising, guys. I mean, there's all kinds of different ways to get your stuff out there. But just my YouTube channel alone is bringing in about 1,000 views a week. And I mean, that's like talking to 1,000 people a week. I mean, just think about how powerful that is. So anyhow, I mean, it's awesome. Get sales right on the webinar. Good deal, man. So anyhow, do you got anything else to say, Rach or Russ? Before we
No, I
close
think
this off?
I think that's it. It's basically the decision that there's no going back, because there's always kind of some fallback plans that we could have made or things we could have done when things got crazy or we got nervous about it, but we just made the decision that this is what we were going to do, and from that time on, the business seemed to accelerate even more because we had made that decision that this is what our family deserved and this is what we were going for, and we were going to make it happen. And so that's a really good position when you get yourself there, because the personal power you receive just making that decision and moving forward is really, really awesome.
Nice. Yep, sure is.
No, that's dead on. Like my sorry to bring up something else real quick. My passion has always been, like I said, youth, but again, being an athlete, I've always wanted to play at that highest level and whatnot, and I wasn't able to. It really sucked. I couldn't ask for time off for work. I can never go and do these things, and I see lots of other people that do that. Now I've been able to. I just got back from Slovakia, where I was representing Canada, playing in a World Cup Championship for clubs, and it was a pretty amazing experience. And I actually got an invite back to go play. And next time I get to go back to, was it Finland or Germany? One of the two, I get to go back there. And I was at Nationals as well. And I would never have been able to do that because I'm able to have that time. Like, I kind of laugh at a lot of the suckers. I call them suckers sometimes. A lot of the guys, they keep saying they hate their jobs in the locker room, this and that. And I always bring up the comment, I laugh, and it was like, if you hate your job, then do something else. You guys know what I do. I just throw that out there. But I laugh at them because they have to go home and go to bed, and then they have to get up really early and go to work. Me, and most wives, they do not like the fact that you're always out playing hockey and this and that. Well, I'm able to go do that because I'm home with my family all day, so I'm not really missing out on anything. I get to go and do what I love to do. I like to say in some ways I'm like a paid pro player now. So while I was in Slovakia, right? Like I was able to go there and enjoy like the scenery. I got to be in Vienna or Austria Vienna, be there in the Emperor's Palace, which was an amazing place. I highly recommend. That should be on your bucket list to be able to go there. So, but yeah, sorry to cut you off. I just want to share that quickly.
Oh no, yeah, dude, that's awesome that you've been able to do all that stuff, and yeah, it opens up. This what we do definitely opens up a whole new world. I mean, like even this year for me, I mean personally, this is the first year I've actually, now that we're stationary, it's the first year I've actually been able to get a membership to a gym and actually go almost every day if I wanted. Well, for a while I was going every day, but then I realized I was kind of overdoing it. But you know, you can go every day if you want to, and I mean, just, you know, it opens up personal stuff. So I mean, I'm letting my kids go to school this year, but but you know, I said, okay, well, since I can't travel, can't get that satisfaction out of, you know, seeing the world more. I'll go and work on myself personally. And so, you know, both Rachel and I have been able to do that, and it's just awesome. It's really awesome to be able to open up your time and do the things that, you know, take time out for yourself. Because a lot of us, you know, we got, like I was saying before, you get stuck in that rat race. And you know what's funny is, like, just to close this off, you know, I know when I was stuck in the rat race, and I was building my business. We had our business, you know, was doing under $1 million a year, and we went out and hired a business coach and all this stuff. And within the next 2 or 3 years, I can't remember, I'd have to look it up, but in the next 2 or 3 years of after hiring that business coach, we took our business from under $1 million to over to just, you know, just, I think it was right out over $2 million a year within a 3-year time period. But in order to do that, you have to be laser focused. And when you're laser focused on growing a business that's taking all of your time, everything else you don't pay attention to. So any opportunities that come by you, you're going right past them. They're just zooming right past you because you're so laser focused on what you're trying to do. And so, you know, that's why, you know, the whole rat race thing, I think so many of us had been caught up, or, you know, get caught up in that rat race to where we're not thinking about anything else on how to improve our lives besides what we're already doing. And, you know, if you can slowly start changing, you know, bringing in passive income that's coming to you from other sources, and, you know, to supplement your regular income, once you get that level and you even bring it a little bit above, then all of a sudden you can step away from that income that you had before. But anyhow, I think we'll stop the call here. I wanted to, you know, appreciate everybody coming to the call. I'm not sure how long we are. We're probably in the 30-40 minute range, I'm guessing. But appreciate everybody coming out tonight. And I think there's a company call actually that's going on right now that we're probably going to want to make. It's probably some really good information on there. There's some really cool stuff that's coming up right now. So anyhow, guys, I wanted to, you know, thank everybody for coming out tonight. And if you were invited to this, or if you got this in an email from, you know, a copy of this call in an email, and maybe it's embedded in a blog post or something like that, you know, get back to the person that brought you here. You know, click the link on, you know, on the page here to go and take your get your trial offer. Test this thing out for 7 days, and, you know, it's going to spell out. You can get a 7-day trial. And it's going to spell out, it's going to take you step by step. By the time you're done with that 7 days, you know, even within the first 4, 5, 6 hours of going through the different videos in there, that's going to take you through and show you exactly what we do and how we do it, and how it all comes together, you're going to have a totally new understanding. You're going to be able to see that there's all kinds of people doing this. You're going to realize that this is a movement, and it's going somewhere, and, you know, we don't want to leave you behind. So click the link on the page, you know, wherever you're seeing this. Get back to the person that brought you here, and we'll see you guys on the next video.